tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been prepared for this. Can't nobody
What's
tell
up,
me
everybody?
nothing.
We're going to be getting going here in about a minute and a half. Early stream today with our boy Quinten Francois. We got to talk about these whales. What does this mean for the markets? We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. Just getting this retweeted out. We're going to be talking about it. Let's go.
SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish shelter. It's not our fault. Blame the cult. It's the political cowards when it comes to gas. Our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been prepared for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We're hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been prepared for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pumping, altcoin, pumping.
we are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't
flight
nobody
to
tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pumping.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Prepared for this.
Getting this going in just 1 second. For whatever reason, everybody, this is not dual streaming on Twitter, so I'm just doing a post with the thumbnail. And everybody, if you can go and retweet that, big love to you. We're getting going early today. And with that, let's dive right back into this. Let's talk about what's going on in these markets. We got our boy. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. We're starting a little early today because we got our boy in the house. So without any further ado, actually little ado, make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, ding the bell, and hit that retweet. We're going live early today, but we got our boy, Mr. Quinten Francois, back in the house, dropping knowledge. You guys see I'm sharing his charts on a daily basis because he's bringing that good alpha. Quinten, how you doing? Where are you at these days?
Hey, Kelly, good to be back. First of all, and finally we found a little bit of time to do like another stream together. So happy for that. I'm currently in Dubai, so I'm in my hotel room right now. So the quality is not the best. My setup is not the best, but let's do it anyway, right?
Well, let's jump right on into it. You know, again, thank you for being here. You always bring such a great wide sort of selection of knowledge. And there's a couple charts I want to go over, of course. So thumbnail for today is whales. And, you know, is this different? Is this a different setup that we've seen? What are we to make of this chart? What does this mean about where we may be going? Does this mean we're at a top? Does this mean it's only just begun? What are you feeling here?
I think like the point of this chart is basically that we have, for the first time ever, this amount of smart money moving into the markets. So usually before we start the parabolic year, let's say it like that, the year before, which is the year of the halving, by the way. So this year as well, we always see smart money coming in, but not in these amounts. So the most easy explanation for this amount of new money coming in is obviously because of the ETFs. The ETFs are a portal for smart money, for big investors and so on to finally get exposure to crypto, to Bitcoin specifically in this case, but not needing to hold it themselves. Like that is a very, very big new amount of money actually that can flow into Bitcoin, and that's exactly what we see right here.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think you know, we're also at that advent where we have adoptions. You know, we're just having that tickling of that next real wave of adoption. And what I really try to make people realize, and I hope, tell me if I'm wrong. I hope that I'm not just on the hopium train here. It feels like we're at the cusp right now of a moment in time where, because of all these major financial institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity, and even Michael Saylor, which has become the story of Wall Street, you know, that this next adoption wave, I would think, based on my estimation, by within 1 year's time, we'll have more new people that have come in the next year that have ever been in crypto before that. like because of this exponential sort of rate of growth. So when you see whales stacking in right now at a price level where we're essentially, been consolidating, some people want to call this the top, consolidating at previous range all-time highs, and we're seeing all this smart money come in. One thing I've realized over time is I recognize patterns. It's not just technical analysis. I'm talking about in life, in the success of whether you're an athlete or an actress. It doesn't matter. Patterns repeat themselves, and smart money and people that have been able to accrue a lot of wealth don't tend to buy the top of hype cycles. They tend to have some either data, positioning, awareness, or maybe all those things that they are preparing for something to come to expand that wealth, not to diminish it. So would you say, how are you feeling about do you feel like we potentially may get something that could squash the level of adoption coming in, or do we need to stop looking at that metric of the rate of internet adoption, or are fireworks on the way? What say you, Mr. Francois?
I think I'm actually totally on the same page with you here. So if we look at the numbers, we see that currently there's around 500 million people that have some exposure in some way to crypto. That's the estimation there. But I think like the most important thing that I want to point out is that last cycle, I think we completely missed the retail mania stage. So as you said, smart money normally comes in at levels such as a reaccumulation that you just showed. Like what we see is we're moving now for 6 months sideways, like just before the halving and now after the halving, which is totally normal, by the way. So what we see is that this reaccumulation stage that we're currently seeing, that is where the smart money is coming in. And especially the retail is coming in at the end of the cycle. So we will see exponentially more and more people coming in over the next year or so. And I think we will also compensate for not having this retail mania stage last cycle, because the market topped out way earlier. Honestly, my opinion is that we topped out before we actually would have seen a top in normal circumstances, because of obviously back then it was 2021, at the end of 2021, inflation rates were extremely high. Traditional financial markets were like dropping and so on, and that took us with it. But anyway, we never had this mania stage for retail, so I think a lot of retail is not in yet, and we can do like a lot better this cycle. So long story short, I think I'm totally on the same page as you, and I think this cycle, next 1.5 years, let's say, we will see exponentially more and more people coming in, with probably, let's say, around 100 million, maybe 200 million in the last month alone before we top out. And if we see 100 million coming in 1 month, then we need to be like scared, like, okay, maybe it's time for a top nearly.
So everybody, what he is just pointing out, this graph right here, this chart exemplifies it perfectly. This is a short-term holder supply. How many coins are being held by short-term holders? Now, why the hell does this matter? Because this is telling you if somebody's buying from a short-term holder, you're sort of having a movement of coins from older hands to newer hands. So coins that have been held or moved within the last 155 days. And you see this massive spike in the last peak. And this is one of the reasons, and I think Quinten just highlighted this, one of the reasons last cycle, there were still so many people, even on this resurgence, that were still saying, no, we're going to 100K, was because everybody got duped by the on-chain metrics. And the on-chain metrics or the exemplification of the psychology of the market, the metrics that we would have expected to see of hype and mania never really came to fruition. Now, I would argue that if we want to do some TA on this, and I would not recommend doing that, but let's do it for fun. It seems like we've got a pretty distinguished sort of downtrend resistance here, of where we've come in here, which to me would suggest that, if we do get that next wave, it's not like we're looking for this as a top. I think that we very well could in this cycle, especially if we have the administration go whatever the administration is. I don't want to make it political, but if the administration moving into the next 4 years starts further supporting the crypto industry, or AKA just getting the fuck out of the way of the industry, I think we could very well see a massive sort of retail hype spike, which would represent a massive spike in the short-term holder supply, which is something that we could be looking to.
I totally agree. And actually, I want to get a little bit political, Callie. If you
Let's
don't
go.
do it, I want to do it. But I think it's very clear that the crypto industry just wants like the Trump administration to win, because he profiled himself as like being very crypto friendly. And actually, just yesterday, I did a poll on my Twitter, and it's very clear that the entire crypto community just wants Trump. I think it's 94% of the people. I just like asked a neutral question: who do you want to win the race to the White House? And 94% of the crypto community voted Trump. So I think it's a very clear sign that if Trump will become president, probably Bitcoin will react to that. Of course, if that becomes clearer over the next few weeks that Trump will win, then I think it's holy, what the hell? Somebody botted this very recently then.
All right, everybody, we got to bot it back. Everybody go over there and vote your conscience. I just posted it in the...
What? Literally,
hold on.
like,
I have to retweet this. Everyone needs to place a vote on this.
Oh
now.
my god!
You won't believe your eyes. And
oh no!
got to do my part.
Literally,
but you know what?
Kelly,
Hey, you know what we can answer that with? We can answer that with Poly Market.
yeah, like on Poly markets, I think Trump is currently at 62%. But I just wanted to show like the sentiment within the crypto community, like who people want to be president, what would be best for crypto, and people are definitely on the side of Trump. So literally until half an hour ago, it was 94% for Trump and 6% Kamala, with like just over 2,000 votes. And now I see it's 5,700. So somebody just botted this with like 3,700 votes. Clearly, that's very sad. That's
Yeah.
very sad.
So how
Anyway,
long ago did you look at it?
like an hour or so. I
Yeah.
think
So
it must have
that's
happened in
100%
that hour.
bot, because you and I both can post
Yeah.
some fairly viral posts, and you don't get. I've never done a poll that I've gotten even 5,000 votes over the course of 3 or 4 days. So that's clearly bot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure like an hour ago or so, just over an hour ago, I checked, it was like 94% all the time from the beginning until 1.5 hours ago or 1 hour ago, whatever. But anyway, so yeah, clearly some Kamala fans botted my poll, but we got the numbers. But anyway, the point that I wanted to make about this is, if over the past few weeks it will become more and more clear that Trump will probably win, then the price of Bitcoin will already price this in. So on the moment itself, it will not have a big impact. So I think it will have an impact over the next few weeks. Then probably maybe even a sell-off event if Trump wins and it gets confirmed. And then probably long-term, this will have a beneficial effect on the price. I think the only thing we need to be scared of is if something unexpected happens during election night, when, for example, Trump is in the lead to win in the polls, and then surprisingly Kamala wins. Then I think we will, in the short term, see some reaction from the markets. The price will probably go down quite a bit. But anyway, this is just a bump in the road, or will be even a bump in the road for the next 1.5 years anyway. Crypto will do its thing. Bitcoin will do its thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you know what's the number one voting mechanism for the Bitcoin price? It's the damn global liquidity, man. And, we've been breaking to new highs. We've got a little bit of a retrace here, which is actually surprising to me. I think this has a little bit to do with what's happening with the bond market. But we're seeing the stimulus packages come in China and now Japan. We have rate cuts likely on the horizon for the U.S. So, I mean, we're seeing all the signs that, I'm not sure if you saw this, Quinten. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I just posted this yesterday. I think Swan Bitcoin posted it. Where's it at? This right here. Fun fact, if you burned $1 million every single day since Columbus landed in the U.S. in 1492, you would have spent less than half of what the federal government spent in a single month. I did the math on this. I was like, that's hyperbolic. I did the math. 365 times however many years, and it's 190. That would be $193 billion.
That's insane. That's insane statistic. Yeah. Wow.
And so when people say, but are they going to print money? It's not like if they should or if they could. You know, the truth is, whether it's Trump or Kamala, we're going to have money printing. Everybody needs to realize that. There's no other way around it, whether it's the U.S., it's not the president, it's the entire world government, every government out there. It's a central bank. It's to kick the can down the road because it is a mechanism, just like these markets in Bitcoin and altcoins or anywhere you trade. It is a mechanism to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. And when you're printing money, those of us that invest, you actually are like, print, it's only going to do good for the investments that I have. People that get hurt are the people that they're unable to invest, or they're just completely relegated only to spending every dollar they have, because they don't realize. And it's funny because I see all this stuff going on right now with all this. And when I see people buying, and I buy foolish shit all the time, I will say it, but I also have disposable income. So it's not, I have an investment thesis. I have action on that. But when I see people saying that demand's keeping them down, yet they're buying shoes that they don't need, or they're buying this, I know people that are spending $1,200 a month on a car payment and they live in a shithole. It's like, what are you doing? You're literally putting yourself into economic slavery.
Yeah, and I can only agree with what you just said. Actually, I think the most important point that you make here is that it does not really matter who wins in the long term. We're going to have money printing anyway. It even happens above their head. I mean, they need to do it at this point, by the way, as well. Like they don't have any choice. We see that the interest rates are also being cut right now. So the US the interest rates are down half a percentage point. In total, then the European, the Eurozone actually is 0.75%. I mean, everything is like pointing towards global liquidity going up, towards money printing, QE. I mean, it does not, in the end, it does not really matter. I think the most important thing, or the most important difference between an administration of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is simply the regulations. It's not going to change the eventual outcome, in my opinion, because money printing is going to happen and money is going to flow to crypto anyway. It's just regulatory wise, I think it would be a difference. I think if Kamala Harris wins, it's probably going to be more tight than when Trump wins. And maybe it's not for sure, but I think a part of the crypto industry will be like chased away if Kamala wins. That's pretty clear what is being said already, publicly and privately. I think that's going to be the main difference. But the eventual outcome for crypto is probably the same.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? Everybody's in here in these markets, and all of us want to be risk mitigated and have the perfect balance of our portfolio and be Bitcoin heavy. But let's be honest, almost every single one of us, I would argue, at least 99% of everybody out here, where is it at, is in altcoins. And you shared this chart in the last, I guess it was this morning. And do you think that this, we've had this sort of regularity of capital flow within the markets from Bitcoin, kind of top down, Bitcoin, Ethereum, mid caps, small caps. I feel like meme coins have somewhat disrupted that flow because they're having these little moments where they're just out of nowhere blasting off. But there's also a lot of integration and exploration in some ways, speculation. Now I sound like I'm rapping with different narratives like DPIN and AI narrative and so on and so forth. Do you think we're going to have a similar cycle in general with altcoins kind of waiting for, I don't think stuff's going to break out right now until Bitcoin breaks out, but is it going to be sort of that same sort of horse race back and forth with Bitcoin and alts, or is there sort of capital focus or excitement around narratives in the space that we might see some breakaway niches? Or how are we supposed to make sense of this chart and make sure that we can also protect ourselves while taking advantage of the best risk assets?
I think there's a few takeaways from this chart. So first of all, I think that altcoins will have their time to shine, and I think it's nearly time. But of course, the main factor that we're missing is a lot of retail spending. Actually, if we combine this information with what we saw in the very first chart that you showed, Kelly, the one that that whales are buying, so smart money is getting in, then you see that the price right now, or the market, is especially smart money driven. What we need for the craziest alt season is that it becomes retail driven. Smart money needs to keep their hands off, and retail needs to do its thing. And retail is has more risk appetite than smart money. Smart money flows to Bitcoin and a few other big altcoins, but the retail will buy everything. And for that, of course,
It's almost like Bitcoin signals risk is coming in or has come in. And then once that happens, then the FOMO powder kicks in on the retail alt market.
Exactly. It's like some kind of snowball effect. First, the Bitcoin price needs to go up for retail to get interested in it. And what we have seen this year is that in the past year, Bitcoin is up 140%. So we saw already a bit of retail coming in, but not the amounts that you need to see a real alt season. So yeah, this is like the money flow that we had, but I think it's also an important factor here why it has not really happened too much is Ethereum. Ethereum is lagging dramatically compared to Bitcoin. The Ethereum Bitcoin pair is in a downtrend for what is it now, like 2.5 years already?
Yeah, September 2022, I believe, if I'm not.
Or 2 years, yeah? Maybe
Yeah, September 2022.
Yeah. So just over 2 years, it's already in a downtrend. So Ethereum needs to pick up, in my opinion, for like real trust to return to altcoins. But of course, like also the retail needs to flow in. But I if you can go back to the chart that you just showed, the last one, with the altcoin cycle compared to Bitcoin cycle, yeah. So what we also see here is that that altcoins can go sideways a lot compared to Bitcoin, as we see. And then it will all happen in a few weeks. So even though it looks very, very boring right now, the periods, the time frames in which altcoins have an alt season are maybe limited to 3 times a few weeks. And that's it for 4 years. And everything happens within this time frame of a few weeks. Can be like a month to maybe 2 months, but that's it. And that is all we need to do it with for a few years. So I think like the takeaway here is also like just be patient with your altcoins. The time will come. Bitcoin is at a certain percentage right now in dominance, around 60%. Depends on how you calculate it with stable coins or no stable coins, whatever. But it's around 60%, and I don't see it going much higher. But yeah, I mean, it's a good moment in my opinion for altcoins to pick up, but we need Ethereum for that to take the lead.
I'm trying to find a specific post that I think it was Tech Dev that posted it, and I retweeted this in the last 2 days. God, where's it at? It was it's exactly what you just outlined. It's like 30 days every 4 years that make 90% of the gains or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's at. I post too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, on the flip side of that, we're seeing ETFs, $20 billion accumulated, cumulative flows, I should say, fastest in history. And is that fast? Well, let's look at gold. What's supposed to be the best? That's record was 5 years. And so we did this, in under a year for these ETF flows. We're seeing the appetite that you can't even believe. We're also seeing at the same time, I just saw it here. We're also seeing at the same time that sort of sell wall pressure that has been above us is starting to it's been reducing this entire time while we're seeing massive whale spikes on each one of these dips. And people are still saying, but is it going to go down? I say, you know what? Fuck it. Let it go down. If it comes down, that would be the best buying opportunity ever. I mean, I think where we're at right now is the most asymmetric, positive, bullish position we've ever been in the market. But price is high. No, it's not. When you look at the fundamentals that have grown into this space in this last 14 years, and primarily in the last 3 years, culminating in the last year with the ETFs, and then now, what was the story that just came out now yesterday? Morgan Stanley showed that they're holding $252 billion or 250. They're holding some amount of ETF on their balance sheets that they had not previously disclosed, which is awesome. You know,
Was it J.P. Morgan or Morgan Stanley?
it was Morgan Stanley. There's two stories I saw in the last 2 days that surprised me. One of them is this one right here. From British Hodl. It says, it appears IBIT is now marginable on Charles Schwab interface. You can borrow against Bitcoin through IBIT on Schwab. It's active, but the details are yet to be rolled out. So this is not yet rolled out. The other one was, let me just type in, I'll just, Morgan Stanley. So yeah, Morgan Stanley holds $272 million worth of spot Bitcoin ETFs. And this, this cascade's going to happen, especially as we get earnings reports that, deliver quarterly. And some of these things are going to be a little under the radar. And then all of a sudden you're going to get 6 or 7. And we're seeing, it feels slow, but when you think about the level of adoption happening at the high ticket levels, high institutional levels, it is astounding that anybody is still, but is Bitcoin safe? I'm like, motherfucker, look at the dollar.
Yeah.
Holding the dollar means that you are supporting funding wars. That's one. Two, you're supporting driving income. I did this yesterday as well. Dude, this blows my mind. I don't know if you watched the John Deaton's Senator Warren debate at all, but some of the clips, she goes on, it was on a debate they had yesterday, and I did it last night, so it should be right here. Let's actually listen to this, because this is freaking mind blowing. Let me see if this will. It's not going to work. You can't hear it, but you all can come see this. It's on my page. I'll share the link in the live chat. Let me copy this real quick. But the interesting thing here is she doesn't even address his questions about Epstein, about the lying that she's done, all this different stuff, and he poses it. And her only response is, if he goes to Washington, he's going to fight for crypto. He has all his net worth in crypto. That's so bad. And it's like, okay, and this is what I responded with. Okay, she can't even respond to other than deflecting. And this is at the same time. Last week, TD Bank paid a $3 billion fine for money laundering. Okay, and then I looked up, I Googled. I said, Chase Bank fined since 2009. That's when Bitcoin came about. Since 2009, Chase Bank has paid $30 billion in fines. And Bitcoin's the bad thing. It's like, you cannot just say that you're bought and paid for by banks other than to be Elizabeth Warren and say crypto's bad. It blows my mind.
There is a few people in the U.S. Senate and so on, senators that are like completely owned by banks. We know this already longer than today. And if you look up the total amount of fines worldwide for banks, or just like U.S. banks, it's incredible. And I mean, of course, they're just like owned by these banks. So what are they supposed to say about like all this kind of stuff? And yeah.
Here we go.
You will get like different numbers, and I don't know them by heart, but it's a lot. Like the amount that, for example, HSBC had we had like examples as well in Belgium and the Netherlands of ING getting insane amounts of fines for like money laundering and working with drug cartels and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, as you said, Bitcoin is a bad thing for them. But the only reason that they say that is that because they're owned by the banks, basically. Yeah.
All right. So we had a lot of esoteric talk about the Bitcoin and politics. We talked a little bit about altcoins. Let's get a little bit more specific. Do you have any, and again, everybody listening, none of this is financial advice. Quinten and I are both in a different position from each other and from you. So make sure that you're doing your own diligence and trading, investing. Remember, make a distinction between if you're investing or trading, because it's going to have two different impacts on the type of charts you should be looking at, aka weekly or 15-minute. Two very different emotional responses. But do you have any sort of two or three sort of, I really think this project is going to do well this cycle that you could throw out?
Yeah, I think the first one that I want to mention is BitTensor Tau. I've now been invested in it for over a year, and we see more and more Bitcoiners actually pointing this out, like OG Bitcoiners, as their favorite altcoin project. Why? Because first of all, it also has like the 21 million supply, fair launch, same release schedule, let's say it like that, as Bitcoin. So that is one thing. But also in the past few months, we see that BitTensor is being picked up by big institutions as well. For example, if you look to Grayscale, their decentralized AI fund, just in July, BitTensor was just over 2% of the weight in their decentralized AI portfolio, and they raised this all the way to 30% right now. So they bet very big on BitTensor. And there's also some other institutions that buy. Look, it's 30% right now. A few months ago, this was just over 2%, 2.4% or something like this. So they really like raised this as the dominant coin in their decentralized AI holdings, which, by the way, is a perfect vehicle. This one as well for smart money to invest in some altcoins, and that's what they do as well. But some other major players has been buying BitTensor as well. So fundamentally, it's a really, really great project. It's very decentralized. It has a fair launch, so no VCs involved, just like a mining mechanism, just as Bitcoin. And we see that the big players that are also involved in the fundamentals, let's say it like that, of Bitcoin, are also now getting more and more involved in BitTensor Tau. So,
and you know who I heard talking about this as well. Do you know who Chamath Palihapitiya is? You know what I'm talking about? It's this guy.
Not immediately, no.
This guy. He's the All In podcast guy. Billionaire investor.
Yeah,
so he was on the All In podcast, and they were talking about AI just generally. And he brought up. He goes, one of the things I found recently I find very interesting is BitTensor Tau. And I think it's a great point he made that I didn't really think about before I heard him say it. One, it was cool to see somebody at his level talking about it. Two, the fact that AI kind of straddles a couple different narratives. It is an AI play, but it's also DePIN for AI. It's infrastructure for it. It creates marketplaces, or it's like, if you know, do you guys have Fiverr over in Brussels?
Yeah.
So it's like Fiverr for tasks, but it's creating marketplaces around, hey, I need an AI project or LLM or tool or whatever, and basically people can bid and they just go and it creates a whole marketplace. So you have community-driven, decentralized AI infrastructure that's also building out AI. It's actually brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think so too, definitely. Yeah. So, in my opinion, this is probably my top pick, I would say. Of course, we have Chainlink as well. I think Chainlink is a super interesting project, which is too often ignored, in my opinion. I think it's especially because the token is more focused on non-retail. It's more a B2B project, let's say it like that, instead of a B2C. So what people have, what's the benefit of holding the token? That's to many people not very clear.
Do you see this? I did not type in the word Fiverr. This just came up on its own. How did that just happen? I'm not joking. I typed in Chainlink and then somehow Fiverr popped up.
Huh?
Look at that. Chainlink. Let me click on it. Pulls up Fiverr. This is some very bizarre. We just went through a wormhole, dude. What is happening?
Oh. Someone's spying on you, Kelly. You probably have some spyware on your computer, and they heard you talking about Fiverr, so they they let it pop up as a joke. I don't know. Jesus.
You saw that, right? I clicked on it. It went to Fiverr. That is so weird.
That's insane. I should get your computer checked, man.
Yeah. But, let me ask you a question about Chainlink, because I think among all crypto projects out there, and, this might displace or change around or adapt over time with the market. But Solana has I would argue if you guys I don't care who likes or dislikes it, just this is my thought. I feel like it has a little bit of an unnecessary sort of support from big money players. And it's surprising to me because something like Chainlink has such a stronger use case, ecosystem, integrations, partnerships. It does RWA, smart contract. It does almost everything you can name in the space, And it seems like everybody's talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, what's the next ETFs? Solana. I'm like, why isn't Chainlink not the next most specific one up? Is it specifically because it has a little bit smaller market cap than Solana, or is it because it does play in Web 2 to Web 3 integrations as well as Web 3? Is it a little bit in a gray area, or is it on purpose to keep it out of just being an investment vehicle?
I think actually, in my opinion, I cannot really pick one of the two, which one will be the next. Of course, you already had ETF filings for Solana, which I personally think it's not for this year anymore, but I think that that Chainlink is probably one of the next ones as well, because of the nature of the project. It's a project that indeed works with the big financial institutions, works with Swift, and so on. Very big banks has over 1,000 integrations, of which some of them are from the traditional financial world. So they have a huge amount of integrations, huge partnerships. I think in my opinion, it ticks quite a lot of boxes to be at least one of the next few ETFs. I think there's only a few contestants. You have Solana, maybe Avalanche is a good one as well. Maybe Doge even. It ticks quite some boxes actually to become an ETF as well. Or it's Chainlink. So I would say one of these four. Or it will just get integrated in a fund with several different tokens in a basket with several ones. So I'm not sure about that, but yeah, could be.
So what do you make of is Sui just a new shiny new thing that it's going to be sort of a narrative that doesn't sustain this outpacing of Solana, or is this just the jockeying of two projects kind of fighting for the same space in the ecosystem?
That's a really good question. And I think it still needs to prove itself. It has really good developer activity on Sui. It has now also meme coins coming in, other people building on it, of course, other projects. So it has some usage. If that necessarily means that it's the next big thing, I don't know. We see often in crypto the attention span of people is very short, it's very low. So we see that the crypto community just jumps around from one hype chain to another. And we had, for example, Arbitrum, and we had Optimism, and we had whatever else we had in the past year. So yeah, now it's Sui's turn, and let's see if they can. They can do it. They can do what the community expects from them. But I don't want to say that for now. It's just too new. Let's say that the hype for Sui is just going on for 1 month. It's just too short of a time frame to say if it's really going to be something that is here to stay, or the next Solana, let's say. I don't know. Ask me again in 2 months, Kelly. What do you think?
It's funny because it's so every once in a while I come across a graphic or a Twitter post or something where somebody shares the top 10 or the top 20 in 2017, and then the same thing, and it would have been the late 2017, and then every year it's so crazy. It's a reminder you cannot be married to your bags. You can be married to Bitcoin, sure. But even Ethereum within this, Polygon is a great example. Polygon was such and it feels and I kind of hope it just shocks people, because Polygon has been, or now POL, no longer MATIC, it feels like it's just been absolutely bleeding its face off against the market over the last, it had a pump up and it never just, this was telling us. And I mean, everything is changing. And it makes you wonder how much longevity, which, in 10 years, in the top 500 coins, there might be 6 left, like.
Yeah, that's so true. And actually, I want to tell something about Polygon, because you mentioned like not marrying your bags, and I think that's super important. But Polygon was actually my best performer of last cycle. So I bought it when it was outside of the top 100. I think it was ranked like 130th or so, and it was just 1.6 cents, I think, or 1.2 cents. I'm not too sure about it anymore, but just over 1 cent. And since where I bought actually, and compared to the top was around $3.20 if I'm not wrong. So it did my bags nearly did like a 250x. So that's pretty insane. I sold most along the way. I held like only 20% of my bag all the way down through the bear market. But eventually last year, I decided to even sell my last few Matic back then, the token was called, tokens. So yeah, I mean, it was my best performer, but I also saw like all the competition. Like last year, we saw that jumping around from one hype chain to another, or whatever it might be, like an L1 or an L2, but they all had their turn, right? And Polygon was, I don't know, it was not getting any attention anymore, even though they announced like the rebranding and so on, to the POL token. Yeah, I just decided to sell all of it, so I don't hold anything anymore. Even though it's a very dear token to me, because it was my best one in the last cycle. It brought me really great returns.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, I mean, I guess I don't want to hold you all day, so I'll ask you a last question here, because we did talk about a lot of more. I don't want to say more important, but impactful, and it is more important. The need for risk management, not marrying your bags, what's going on with the economy, politically, what may be impacting the markets. And anybody, if you did tune in late, make sure to go back. This is a great conversation here with Quinten. Again, thank you for your time. But I gotta twist your arm and get a couple deep picks from you, man. Matic was your best performer. It was outside of the top 100. Do you have any that you have your eye on? I have my eye on a few, like Aether, a Delicium, a couple others. But do you have any that you're looking at? And again, we're not telling any of you to go buy this. It's just, what we're having our eyes on as a small percentage play that might be an outperformer.
I actually don't invest too much anymore in smaller cryptocurrencies, except the ones that just are just launching or just launched. So there is not like some kind of Matic token that I want to mention here. I'm very sorry for everyone who's disappointed right now, but I don't really have a call that I think like, okay, this one is like fairly big, let's say like top 150, just there and sweet spot, and can go up 100x. I have a few very small ones, but mainly it's just top 50 tokens that I hold currently. So
just whisper to us. What's one of those really small ones, man? Nobody's here. Nobody's here but family, man.
I think AERO is also one that I'm looking at. But of course,
Aether?
the fully diluted value. Yeah, but the fully diluted value is already pretty big. I have a few other ones. For example, AIT I like as well, an AI project, which is still very small, but it's so risky. I mean, to everyone like who considers you Fiverr again.
You saw that?
What? Every time you want to click on something, it just, what the fuck?
Dude, it is so that I'm not even like, what is happening here? Is it the mouse?
Insane.
I'll use the trackpad. I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I just realized half my screen's not showing there. I don't know why. It's when I switch monitors from home to my office. There we go. I haven't looked at this one. I'm not sure. Even, damn. Oh, that's volume. I thought that was a market cap. I was like, dude, that's a super deep pick. 412. But that is small. 32 million is minuscule. I mean, I don't think people can. I just want to show everybody something. When we're looking right here at CoinMarketCap, first off, stop being so focused on the price. When you're looking at the market cap, this is really telling you the size of these projects. And what's interesting about this? Okay, 32 million. Have you all seen 100 verse 1? I'll just type it. It's such, let's even do 1 million, not 1 million. This is massively impactful because people think, oh, it's a $32 million market cap. It's pretty big. No, a billion is 1,000 times larger than a million. So if you're looking at this coin market cap here and you have something like, okay, let's do 30. Okay, XRP, 30 billion. That last project he just showed you was 32 million. That is 1,000 times smaller. And that's why we say it's a deep cut. And those are such risky plays. Even if you like the teams, this is why people are always hesitant to talk about it. Let's see if there's a graphic here, but look at this. 1 million, 100 million, 1 billion. This is a trillion. So this is why it's so important to understand. This is why isn't this moving as fast as it did last cycle? Because you're trying to move oil tanker versus moving an RC jet powered car. You know what I mean? The size, it takes so much more energy to stop a train than it does to stop a bicycle or to start it, right? But if you could take some, you don't need to go and say, I'm going to go catch up to Quinten. I'm going to go catch up to Crypto Burb. I'm going to catch up to Crypto Face. I'm going to put in my $10,000 life savings into this $30 million market cap coin. And I'm going to be, no, you're not. 99% probability you're going to lose that money. But if it does hit, yeah, you'll make a ton of money. But that's why you can put in $100. $250, but it's all good. It needs to be relative to what your investment strategy is and how much you have invested. If you have $100,000 invested, sure, throw in $500. If you have $1,000 in the market, if you're putting $100 in, that's 10% of your portfolio.
It's too much already. Yeah, I want to give my statistics. What I, for example, put in all these small caps combined, and I'm talking about the ones that are under 100 or 50 million, projects like AIT, everything combined is, let's say, 3% of my portfolio, only 3%, all of them combined, that I hold, I think 20 of these coins. But these are for me all or nothing plays. Either I get 100x on them or they go to zero. But either way, I don't really care because it's only 3%. But if one hits, it can make your entire cycle. And that's indeed what Kelly is saying as well, of course. Just be really, really careful with investing in smaller cryptocurrencies. If you want to invest in something, it should always be you should always stick to 70% or more, in my opinion, in top 10 coins. It's just that simple. Majority in Bitcoin even. But of course, not financial advice, but it's to put some perspective on it indeed. Yeah, I think it's very important to mention.
Okay, question for you. One project that always kind of surprises me, and while we're talking, Bitcoin's getting a little bit of movement on the smaller time frames, but we're still being held under this. I just want to bring that up for people that are watching along. One coin that always surprises me, I don't see anybody, and maybe it's because it's outside of my bubble. I don't know. I don't see anybody ever talking about BNB. And yet it performs, relatively well. I think now that CZ's out of prison as well. Excuse me. Why is that? Is that a US based thing? Do people talk about it a lot in your circles in Europe and in Dubai and stuff? Or is it just more of an institutional play that, people behind the scenes are really active in it? Because I don't see anybody talking about it.
I think you raise a very, very valid point, and I don't understand it as well. I mean, I tweeted about it a few times in the last year, specifically about this, that I don't understand how nobody's talking about BNB, but it's still so close to all-time high. It's one of the closest ones in the top 20 to all-time highs, aside from Bitcoin. If you look at altcoins, it's insane, but nobody's talking about it. But I really don't fully understand why that is. Maybe it's just because the current holders and current community of Binance are just so loyal that they hold their BNB for several reasons. They gave it, of course, like really good utility, and maybe that utility is now just playing out, and that's why the price is doing so well. So. Or at least holding up so well against all the rest of the top 20. But I don't really know, Kelly. I think it's just like a future projection as well of Binance still being the market leader in a few years, and anticipation on that, together with the utility and what people do with it of the existing community. I think it's a combination of that. It must be, because nobody is talking about it anymore. And it's actually even like this, nearly no KOLs are even partnered with Binance anymore. So it's not only not talking about the token, but also not talking about Binance at all anymore, because they're losing market share towards other exchanges. So yeah, it must be a future projection and existing community.
And then we'll wrap out here. AERO and ONDO have kind of poured onto the scene in the last 6 months, 8 months now, in a major way, with BlackRock's sort of involvement with the tokenized treasuries on ONDO and AERO, two completely different narrative plays, but they're both obviously, they've been really great performers in the last 7 months with some retracement. But Aerodrome is the DEX on base. And, we saw Coinbase Ventures buy $100 million worth of Aerodrome on open market, not OTC, open market spot buys. And it made sense about, what was it, about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, when Coinbase announced that they were going to be doing wrapped Bitcoin on base. And where are all those transactions happening to wrap it on Aerodrome? So it seems like they were building that foundation towards what they're going to be participating in. So are you at all bullish or irrelevant? You don't pay attention to Aerodrome, ONDO, or are they on your radar at all? Any thoughts about those plays?
Well, Kelly, they're now on my radar. I actually, honestly, I'm not following altcoins as much as I used to. Like last cycle, I knew as much as you about them, like about every single project, what was going on. Currently, that's not the case anymore. So yeah, I didn't even know that what you're telling right now. I didn't even know about that. So yeah, honestly, they were not on my radar. Now I will go check them out.
I mean, it's something definitely worth checking out, because BlackRock is basically participating. They have something called the BITL Fund, which is essentially investing in real world asset tokenization of financial products, financial services tools like U.S. Treasuries and other stuff like that. And ONDO has just been doing incredibly because of that. And I think it's only going to be going up from here. And then again, like I said, Aerodrome is the DEX on base that also uses the same stack as Optimism. Optimism is creating something known as a super chain, which is everything that is using that sort of that code base, almost like they're baking in interoperability with ERC20 and everything in the Optimism stack, and things like WorldCoin, Aerodrome, Coinbase is tied to Aero. It's like, okay, so yeah, I'm pretty heavy. Aerodrome has been my best performer since February. I took like 80% profits out of it, rotated that into other coins, and then restacked into it when the price, all the prices dropped. And now it's again, I think it's my second or third I have a position altcoin portfolio that I've been sharing with the community that we've been building. And, I've been basically showing you don't have to trade every move. You can pick some plays early on and get a diversified altcoin portfolio, and then figure out where you're going to, start taking profits out, after, hopefully longer than a year was a goal. So that's why we started in February. So you can mitigate, long-term gains taxes and all that kind of stuff. But Aerodrome and BitTensor are the two, I think, that are the largest in that portfolio. And that's just because they perform the best.
But Aerodrome and ONDO, especially ONDO, because you talked about like BlackRock tokenizing stuff on that. Are they integrated with Chainlink to bring that data?
I don't know. I would lean towards, and this is an ignorant statement, just because I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like they would, because Larry Fink also said about 3 days ago, I'll find that tweet. I retweeted it because I thought it was so impactful. Actually, I have it in bookmarks. Let me pull it up. He actually made comments specifically about Chainlink. He said that he thinks that, let me find it. I don't need to put words in his mouth. By the way, this is Kamala Harris the other day after the discussion with the Fox guy. It feels good. Sorry, that's just funny. Right here. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says Chainlink will eclipse Bitcoin, that BTC is a flight to quality at 66K. Since Chainlink CCIP, Link is partnered with Visa, DTCC, Swift, and the BlackRock Link ETFs are about to be unleashed. So I would assume if they're thinking that they're obviously done their diligence on Chainlink, I would assume that let's actually ask, is ONDO
Kelly, one
using...
thing about the tweets of Junko that you just showed. She's like often just trolling. I'm not too sure.
This person?
If this is really, yeah. Junko Suzuki. She's often like putting some troll posts out. So I would be careful with that, because I did not hear about that. I assume, and it gets only 3,000 impressions, I assume it could be like a troll post. So just want to point that out.
Yeah, I don't know if this. Yeah, it is data powered by Chainlink's decentralized Oracle network. Boom.
Okay. Now CCIP as well. Let's see. But
CCIP is a cross-chain
interconnectivity protocol.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure they have.
I'm so bullish on this market, man. I'm so bullish. It's like I don't want to be. We all have the inner victim in our head. All of us. I don't care if you've been successful or not. We all have. I'm so bullish, so the world's gonna wreck me. Like I'm so bullish. I'm like, all these signs and signals can't point to just absolute bullishness. Can they? Can it be realized? Is it that I am just have been in this space long enough that I'm seeing all this? Because in my mind, everybody's aware of all this. And then I realize that most people don't even know what a candle is. And so people aren't aware of this. So maybe it is possible.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I have the same thing. I think you are probably right now deeper into the altcoins. I have the feeling I'm more focusing on a little bit more focused on Bitcoin and macro this cycle. I used to be way more in altcoins. But I have the same feeling. You see the fundamentals, you feel the fundamentals, and it's like this. The more you know about crypto, the more bullish you become, and then you really cannot understand. Like, okay, is it me who's just delusional, or do other people like feel this as well? And I don't have the answer to that. Maybe we're both delusional, Kelly. It could be, but I have the same crazy bullish. Feeling, especially for the next 1.5 years, because it's again copy paste of the last few cycles so far. We're perfectly on track. So yeah, let's just hope it plays out. The fundamentals that we see, that we feel, and the cycles that are copy paste. I mean, it should. I think it's a high probability.
Well, I'm here for it. And again, Quinten, I appreciate you being here. Everybody, you can follow him at Quinten Francois. I've been sharing his charts all day. You can scroll back and see that if you want. I'll just show you actually. Boom. It's right here at Quinten Francois, Francois. Make sure you give him a follow. He's got great content he puts out all the time, and he's a valuable resource in your little toolkit for getting different lenses on the market and staying in tune. Now for the giveaway, everybody, I'm going to do a stream tomorrow, so we'll do the giveaway tomorrow. But make sure that you head over to my page right here, retweet this tweet, and get that out. You are entered to win just by showing a little love here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Again, Quinten, almost said Francois. Quinten, I appreciate you. How long are you going to be in Dubai? Are you in Dubai right now?
I am in Dubai right now. I will stay here for another month for all the events that are going to happen in the coming month.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we'll get on. We'll be chatting offline, and we'll get you back on here again soon. I look forward to seeing you in person again.
Of course. My pleasure, and thank you for having me again on the stream. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, my friend. I appreciate you, and I use I use at least one chart of yours probably every day on my stream. So you're putting out great content. I really do appreciate you, and I appreciate our friendship. I hope you have a wonderful day. And with that, everybody, make sure you hit that like button, show some love, get outside, get out of the charts. I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow morning, so tune back in live. And again, friend Quinten, have a good day. Everybody else, have a good day, and we'll see you later. Adios, folks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.